Today we're going to be talking about the mysterious pyramids of Giza, everything that encompassed them, all the mysteries, all the facts, things we don't know, all the controversies, all the theories. We're going to go over all of it today, talk about all of the beautiful mysteries of Giza. So first we're just going to kind of go an overview, just kind of understand what the pyramids of Giza are, talk about their main purpose, why they're here, why they were built, why we think they were built. The unknown building process, as you can kind of tell, we were not sure about a lot of the things of the Great Pyramid of Giza. So the building process is one of the things that we are not too sure about. So we're going to go over what we think the building process could have been, as well as who built them. We don't know how it was built. We also don't know who built them. We're going to go over an astronomy theory that is very interesting. It goes with a constellation in the sky possibly having something to do with the pyramids. And then lastly, we're just going to go over some mind-blowing coincidences about the pyramids of Giza. They are some very interesting facts that I found while researching this that just are so mind-blowing. So I do recommend staying around and listening to some of them. So first, what are these? Why are they important to us? So these are the pyramids. They reside in Giza, Egypt, as you could imagine, in Giza. There's 3 large pyramids, and if you look closely, this picture is kind of hard to tell, but you can see the start of one here. There's 3 other smaller pyramids that are right in front of the other ones. We're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves because I go over that a little later, but just want to mention that there's 3 big ones and then 3 little small ones that also reside there. Another part of the pyramid is the Sphinx cat. As you can see, it's right there, big old kitty. It sits right in front of the 3 little ones, and it's kind of the protector of the pyramids is what they say, but it is a monument. It's built next to the pyramids, but it's not shaped as a pyramid, so I'm not really going to be going over it. I'm just going to stick on the pyramids today, but the cat is pretty cool, you got to admit. So these pyramids, they do hold a lot of value to Egypt, but why do so many other cultures value them? Why do we study them in the Americas and everywhere around the world? So the pyramids are the only remaining 7 ancient wonders of the world. There once was 7 wonders of the world. We had no idea how these things either got here, how they were built, their whole process, we had no idea. We figured out every single one except our friend, the Great Pyramid of Giza. We still have so many holes that we have no idea how this thing was built, who built it, there's so many questions around it. So that's why we're trying to get more information on it, because we want to figure out how these things got here. So all the rest of these are no longer a wonder of the world. We know almost everything we can to know about them but the pyramids. They still remain a mystery, so we're going to try to uncover them, but my presentation today is just kind of going over some of the theories. So let's just get a little more background on these pyramids and what each one kind of is. So as you can see, each pyramid is actually for a singular person. The pyramid on the left is Menkres. I might screw up these names a little bit, but this is the first pyramid. These are all for kings. They're tombs for the dead kings. Once they die, they go into these tombs. But this is the smallest. It's the home, or the residing place, not the home, I should say, of the 5th king of the 4th dynasty, and it is the smallest pyramid out of all 3 of these. Next is the pyramid of Khafre. He is the 2nd king of the 4th dynasty, and this is the largest pyramid, as you can see. It's a big boy. And then we got the one on the end, pyramid of Khufu, which is the kind of the middle one, and he's the 4th king of the dynasty, but he's the son of this guy. So father, son here that reside, and then another ruler as well, just on this pyramid. And each of the pyramids are very unique. They have their own special style and special touches to them. Some are more decorated than others on the inside, and some are not. It's just kind of what the king wants in their tomb. They can really have whatever they want. So we're going to kind of talk about inside the pyramids. You might think the pyramids might be very spacious and have a lot going on in there, but sadly, it's not what you might think. It's not very spacious. There's not a lot of room in there to begin with, and from going inside of it, there's no decorations or no statues or art anymore. The pyramids have sadly been looted, so there's not much residing in there anymore. People can still do walkthroughs, as you can see. It's usually in that middle pyramid, that big one, the Great Pyramid. And while the pyramids look pretty similar to the rest, they are just a lot of stones, many steps, things like that. But as you can see, they're very small spaces. It's not like you have a massive area to walk around in these. It's not an open space in the whole middle of it that some people think. It's just small walkways and mostly just areas to get to where the king resides in his tomb. So yeah, as you can see, it's kind of a little bit blurry, but this is also one of the pyramids here. You can see that there's really not much opening here at all. It's just kind of little pathways to get into the king's chamber and ways out. There's not a lot of room in there to go in the first place. But everything that has value and stuff would be in the chamber area mostly, and some things in the gallery, but like I've said, they've all kind of been looted, unfortunately, so much of what was in there is now gone. So we're talking about the building process. Another big mystery with these periods is the building process of them. We have no idea really how they were built. The ancient Egyptians, they never left any sort of maps or keys to how they did this. They were just left for us. So scholars seem to be very divided on what they believe is true and how these were built. The most common theory is the ramp theory, which this is what it is. It's Egyptians had ramps. They started with one ramp and they would keep building it higher and higher. And they would have like a man kind of pulley system that would pull all these massive, massive bricks up the sides of the hill. I have a better picture here that might help. So yeah, it was a very long type of ramp that you could have multiple men carrying multiple stones, that they would go all the way up and they would place them and then repeat and repeat and repeat, which takes a lot of time, as you can imagine, because these are massive structures. While this seems to be the most plausible, there are other ideas out there. The inside-out method is another popular one. The inside-out theory is that they built the inside of the pyramids, so like the open areas first, which is kind of hard to believe now that I showed you that there's not much inside area, but there are some scholars that do believe that they built all these little inside chamber areas first and then built around it. And they had kind of like scaffolding like we do today to build homes, and they used that to like pull up all their stones, and they would climb up the sides here that were already kind of built up like a staircase, and that's how they would get the stones on there and build them that way. Aliens are also another theory. There's always some sort of theory about aliens or some sort of other life form that built these pyramids, but who knows? They're a mystery. They are a part of the 7 wonders of the world. It could have been aliens for all we know. So now we're going to kind of go into who built these. So we first have the Egyptians themselves could have built these, which is also a plausible idea. We have the slaves, so Egyptian slaves, and then lastly we have Mother Nature herself. So we're first going to talk about the Egyptians. Some believe that the leader of this build, he had a team construct these pyramids. There are a lot of pyramids in Giza that were built. The ones here, the 3 here, are only 3 out of 104 that were built in Egypt. So they are pretty good at building pyramids. They know what they're doing. So it could be a plausible idea that the Egyptians do it themselves, but these are massive, which is very dangerous to even do to begin with. So that's why it brings us to the idea of having slaves do them. This is a very popular stance on who builds the pyramids as well. It's believed that Egyptians did not build them because it was too high and too dangerous for them to get up there, and they supposedly had prisoners and slaves build them for them. But building the pyramids, it's a lot of work, especially the Great Pyramids, so I would not be surprised if they did pawn it off to these slaves to do. And lastly, we have Mother Nature. There are some believers that say that the pyramids were already built and already on this earth before Egyptians. They think that it was a part of the topography of Egypt and a part of the desert. This is kind of a hard one to believe just because the Egyptians did physically build the other pyramids, like I say. Like there's 104 other pyramids in Giza, so why would these just kind of be there? But that is one possible reason. It could have already been there for all we know. We have no idea. So now we're going to go into the astronomy theory, which is so mind-boggling. It is very far-fetched and it's out there, but it really gets my wheels turning, so I thought I would share it with you because it is something that could possibly happen. A lot of things are possible in the world, and we're not sure what happened with these pyramids, so anything could be believable at this point. So the idea is that if we go back to our earliest records we have, it's going to be cavemen drawings. Let me show you here. They drew on their caves things like this, usually like stick figure type of things. And early cavemen were known to draw stick figures that had like bow and arrows and hunting and things like that. The star constellation Orion, Orion's belt, is actually built on a hunter. So usually that when we think of Orion's belt, we usually think of these 3 lines or the 4 encompassing it, but it's actually a whole unit, and it's all of these combined together, and they nicknamed it the Orion the Hunter. It's a hunter. And you can see that cavemen here, they would depict things like that on their caves and on their walls. But the question is, why would these cavemen draw all these pictures that look so much similar to this constellation? If you look at this drawing, I hope you can see it pretty well, but it really almost does encompass exactly what the Orion is depicting here. As we've seen in art class, usually art is showing culture, way of life, history, things like that. And the theory says that Orion could possibly be the creator, or the god in a way, of these cavemen, that he's the one who created them, put this on this earth. So if we go with this theory, we can see that their god, Orion, taught them even basic survival skills. He taught them how to hunt, which is how to stay alive and how to sustain life. Orion is now this god, right? We're going to consider Orion God. If we look at the pyramids, they align perfectly with the constellation of Orion. The 3 points that I pointed out here, they are the same points right here, and they align perfectly with the pyramids of Giza, which is very interesting. It could be something that's, just a coincidence, what do you know? But I found this also interesting that another popular pyramid site, Upham, also has a very similar outline to Orion, the 3 stars in the middle there. Is it a coincidence? Is it something that could be something? We don't know. So this theory goes along the lines though that the pyramids were already on Earth. Like we have seen in the earlier slides, these 3 smaller pyramids. You can kind of see them better in these pictures. There's 3 small ones here. What if these small pyramids were actually the pyramids that the Egyptians built in an attempt to build what they saw as the greatest thing ever? So they're saying that these were the pyramids that were physically built by Egyptians. These were put here by Orion, the creator. Crazy, right? It is a far-fetched theory, as I said, but it is believable. It is something that could happen. We have no idea what happened with these pyramids, so it is something that could be possible. All right. So, some things that just make you go, there are some crazy facts about these pyramids that just are so mind-boggling that I wanted to bring to your attention. So this is kind of a big picture, but the pyramids are so massive. We would think, massive, big, whatever. You can see them from outer space clearly. I know from this picture you might not be able to see them very well, but there is 3 distinct little guys chilling right there. And you can see all the pyramids, even from space. They say that when the pyramids had their shiny caps on them, when they were newer and not kind of weathered away as they are now, that they're very shiny and very noticeable from outer space. I just thought that was so cool that they are that massive that you can detect them from space. Another thing that was very mind-boggling was the Great Pyramids. They're essentially located at the center of the world's landmass, and it's also aligned with the North Star. So right here is like the center of the world's landmass, and it's also near the North Star here, and that's like exactly where the pyramids of Giza are. They are the center of the Earth, center of Earth's mass at least. That's just so crazy that they were built in the center of the Earth. What are the odds of that happening? And the last kind of interesting fact, this looks like a lot of math, which it kind of is, but if you measure the Great Pyramids of Giza, you take the perimeter, multiply it by the height, you will get the landmass and total circumference of the Earth. How? These people did not have any technology that we had today, and they built something that has almost the perfect number of our Earth's mass, which is just mind-blowing to me that that can even be a thing. But the pyramids are a very mysterious part of the world. They are part of the 7 wonders of the world, like I said. Will we ever figure out how they're built, why they're really here, who started them, who built them? It's really unknown. The pyramids are a very unknown type of thing, but we do have some information on it as I've shared what they had in them, what they were used for. But the mysteries, I think, will forever be a mystery, in my opinion. These are the resources I use, and I had a great time putting this presentation together, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.